Good morning, guys. Theo here on Common Sense. It is an absolutely beautiful morning. I am just under 40 hours fasted as I'm recording this. Just came from the gym where I had a little workout, but not at all the typical workout I would do when I eat and train normally. Lots of people have asked me about fasting and training lately, as in fasting for multiple days in a row. Always people have asked me about this, really, and I feel like I've addressed it so many times, but at this point it makes sense to do a little shorter and more condensed videos about different aspects of fasting. So let's do training and fasting in this one. So first of all, I am a natural bodybuilding kind of guy, right? Meaning that I'm someone that's always very specific and on point with a very, very rigid training schedule and diet, getting enough protein and macros for my goal at the time, right? Always very specific about these things, but I also implement prolonged fasting into my process, right? But so what you got to realize is that I'm also just a general self-improvement, progress and process-driven coach, right? Like that's what I do and coach. So how I want you to think about it, right, is that, well, the way I think about it is that I am a person going about their process, like for life, like just dealing with life, but improving, reaching different kinds of results and outcomes that I'd like, right? And it's not one-dimensional. We have many things going on for us, right? And even when it comes to fitness, I always see myself as moving forward, but what I do exactly is going to be a little different at different times, because the focus is going to be a little different at a time. For example, the most clear one is that at times you're going to eat more to gain weight and focus more on building muscle and getting stronger, while at other times you're still moving forward, but now it's time to cut off some fat you gained along the way, right? To get more lean, lose some weight, right? And yeah, to me, since I always think about it holistically in this way, that my question is, how does it make sense? Because I'm going to go about this process permanently, right? How do I best combine fasting, diet, and training? People always want to know specifically about how do you train when you're fasting? Like, why do you care only about those few days when I fast? I will do a few different fasts on a year, but the majority of the time I'm not fasting, so why do you care about that so much, you know? It's about how you combine it. So when it comes to training and fasting, there are 4 different sections we could talk about, really. First of all, how do you train leading up to the fast, right before the fast, right before you stop eating? How do you approach training during the fast, during these days when you won't be eating? How do you train after or coming out of the fast? And the last thing would be kind of, how do you combine it? How do you plan this so it just goes as seamlessly together as possible? So well, when it comes to training before the fast, you know, it makes most sense to me from the experience I have and from the scientific data we have at hand that, you know, when you train in the gym, it's not as literal as you actually break muscle down, but for the sake of the metaphor, we sort of break ourselves down a little bit, plant a seed that needs recovery so that, yeah, well, we can recover and make gains from that, right? And we do that with nutrition and sleep. And when it comes to building muscle, what we know is that the protein synthesis should be elevated for around 48 hours after we train a muscle, meaning that I don't really think it makes sense to completely smash a muscle and then go into not eating for the day when you're not going to give yourself the fuel that you need to recover and adapt from that, right? Also, just from my experience, all the fasting I've done over the years, it's never been when I feel the best, when I completely crush a workout and like have one meal and then go into a fast. I feel under-recovered. And apart from that, it just psychologically too, if you now weren't to push through that, it's just like, it kind of, I would like to eat something to recover from the training, right? So for me, the way I always want to do it is leave. So I am already fasting now, but let's say I were to start to fast this evening. I would want to, the day before yesterday, I would want to hit my last workouts, eat protein on that day. Then on the next day, I'd not train hard, but I could exercise, right? But then eat protein to recover from that last hard workout so that I can go into the fast recovered, right? During the fast, for the same reason, like why I don't think it makes sense to completely smash a workout going into a fast is I don't really see the point of doing it during a fast unless you're doing it right before breaking the fast. That's something I've done and, you know, started getting back to doing more now. That's usually how I plan it now. So, but you can obviously still exercise, like movement is going to be good for you. There are different kinds of training that you don't need to recover from that's more like skill-based, or it's just like it doesn't put that kind of demand on the body, right? So certain mobility training could be good, but going on walks, of course. Like so yesterday, what I did, I went on a long. That's a nice thing with fasting, right? It frees up a lot of time that you would otherwise be spending on gym training and cooking and preparing, eating food, right? But so I went on a long forest walk, and then I used my mace. It's a bit of a heavier training, but it's not something that's going to be, unless I completely overdo it, it's not going to break me down in this sense that I don't think there's a point to doing on the fast. And today, same day, I'm going to be walking, and I was in the gym here. I hit a little mobility, lower body mobility sort of workout, like, I will hold the weight in a hand on certain exercise, but nothing heavy at all. Just gonna have blood flow, open, kind of lubricate everything in the lower body, and then I just combined some dips, really controlled dips for a nice stretch in the chest with some face pulls, because I intuitively felt like that, but nothing of this was hard, right? So this is the way it makes sense to me to take the opportunity to do on a fast. But tomorrow, when I'll be breaking the fast, I will also be smashing upper body, and so that's something. When you train when breaking a fast, the third aspect is like you could. So sometimes I've actually just refueled and then went to train the next day. But it's gonna have to do with the last part I come to, with the programming part, because it all depends to me on how does this fit in my entire program, my entire just process over the days to come, over the weeks and months to come, right? But so if you're gonna upper body, I feel like it's always easier to train. Well, often in general, but sometimes, especially if it's a longer fast, training legs hard can just be quite difficult. So I would often start with the upper body, if that makes sense for my program. But it makes sense to go over how to program it now, because the way I think of it, my typical split, it's set in stone, because this is what I do. I set systems in place to get the outcomes that I want, right? And so the way I train on any week that isn't an exception is from Monday till the end of the week is upper, lower, misc, push, pull, lower two or legs, misc. That's what I have a workout, 5 hard ones and a misc, a little lighter ones, always on the same days, right? So now, just because what I feel like it fits with the lengths of the fast I'm doing, now what made sense to me to start, like it's a Thursday as I'm recording this, right? Yeah, and so what I did, because I wanted to start the fast on the Tuesday, what makes sense most with my entire regimen right now. So what I did was the adjustment that when I would typically train just upper body on the Monday, I now train full body so that I could rest and just eat protein on the Tuesday to go into the fast recovered, like I told you, right? And now I would have push-pull legs, like push today and pull on Friday and legs on Saturday typically. But now I'm still fasting, so now I'm switching the push and pull into an upper session tomorrow, Friday. Then on Saturday, it's going to be right back on schedule. Yeah, I go back to legs, I'm going to do misc on Sunday, and now I'm going to go through a week of my typical upper, lower, misc, etc., right? And then I'm going to probably fast again the week after that, and then I'm going to do the same adaptation that, okay, I want to start with a full body workout. And this is all to do the maximum stimulus that, since I would be missing my lower if I did my typical upper, I'll change the upper into a full body, so I get full stimulus that I also recover from going into the fast. And then the question is like, how do I most seamlessly come back from this break that the fast is from the program, so that I can pick up where I left off with my typical program? So to not make this too long, like I could talk about many little details of this, but I'll end it here, guys. I hope this made sense to you. Like and comment if anything is still unclear. We will continue. I do holistic bodybuilding coaching, getting jacked and stacked mentally, physically, spiritually, working ourselves, body, mind, and soul, becoming that person that is just fucking solid with a regimen like this, always knows how to adjust to keep their progress going in no matter what domain that is. But fitness is a cornerstone, and that's why you look jacked also. So if you're interested, you can send me DM on Instagram or email me. It's in the description below. And I'll get back to you with my different programs. You can, by the way, my website, it's just up and running, so I forget to say it, but you can get a free consultation from my website if you fill in the form. I'll get back to you there. You can pick up my training book also. But please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, stoicism, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It is a mindset, guys. do not think of things so isolated. You know, think of your process as a whole. How does this particular puzzle piece fit into my process as a whole piece?